JB Anderson won gold in slopestyle. She's 23 years old. She hails from Lake Tahoe, California, and she had an interesting quote regarding the Olympic Village and Tinder. So here was her quote. When talking to USA Today, or excuse me, Us, she said, Tinder in the Olympic Village is next level. It's all athletes in the mountain village. It's all athletes. It's hilarious. There's some cuties on there. There was a point where I had to be like, okay, this is way too distracting, she said of using Tinder. I deleted my account to focus on the Olympics. Now, Sam Alipur, who's a friend of the Young Turks of ESPN The Magazine, on one of his great articles in ESPN The Magazine, he talked to many athletes. Hope Solo was quoted as saying, there's a lot of sex going on in the Olympic Village. If you don't have discipline, the village can be a huge distraction. Ryan Lochte said, I'd say it's 70 to 75% of Olympians. And then Brandi Chastain lastly said, there were loud cheers. So we look over, this is in the mess hall basically. So we look over and see two French handballers dressed only in socks, shoes, jock straps, neckties, and hats on top of a dining table feeding one another lunch. We're like, holy cow, what is this place? So there's a lot of tales going on. Did you enjoy that little story time?
Mm-hmm. So by the way, that was from a Summer Olympics past.
That was a Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
There are far less Olympians competing.
Right. Didn't make
handball's not there.
Yeah.
No, but it should be. Yeah. So
well, apparently it is.
Maybe. So there's a lot going on in the Olympic Village. TMZ reported that they had 100,000 condoms that were distributed. What do you guys think?
There's no way that's true. I mean, they may have had 100,000 condoms sent there, but they haven't distributed them. Yeah. Like, there's no way they gave out 100,000 condoms.
It's the least surprising thing in the world. Yeah. I mean, these are all young athletes.
Good-looking athletes, best shape of their lives.
Yeah, they're peers, and they're
thrown into a peculiar situation where it's just the athletes. There's no girlfriends, wives, husbands.
And it is one big party. Yeah. I mean, I went to a Winter Olympics. And
oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to Albertville, and not as an athlete. You'll be shocked to know. And it was the best time I've ever had. I mean, it was really one of the best times of my life. I went, and it was fantastic. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's got their flags. It was before 9/11, so you could carry the American flag
proudly.
Proudly. No, but you're going down the street with your flag and USA, and people start to get together, and then you see a group of Italians, and they're doing the same thing. It's fantastic. So for the athletes, it's the same, and they all know each other. I mean, with the exception of the figure skaters, these athletes all know and respect each other. If you saw the half pipe, I don't know if you watched the half pipe last night, the women's half pipe, but you saw Tora Bright lose and hug Farrington, and you saw.
I saw Shaun White the day before, and and with I think the German guy, and he's in the middle of his interview, and the German guy crossed behind him, and he was like, "What's up, buddy?"
That's what it is, and so I mean, you don't see that in the figure skating, but you do see it in all these sports. So
what do you see in figure skating, Michael?
Well, I mean, it seems like there's not a great deal of camaraderie. Once in a while, they'll even take a pipe and break the other one's leg. So it's. I think that it's different.
3 or 4, I think.
It's got at least, but so it just seems a little different.
Sure.
But the feeling, and I was obviously not in the athletes' village, but the feeling at an Olympics is like that. Everybody's happy. Everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, and that's even what they told Sam Alipur, was like they would just basically go up to one another and be like, "Oh, what sport do you play?" Yeah. And then it just opens everything up because they have that in common, obviously.
Watch all of these people come out during the opening ceremonies, waving and excited. And, I mean, they're just it's the time of their lives.
I was watching. I wish I remember who she was. I was watching the short track speed skating, where they put two skaters against each other. They're not actually racing.
Right.
But it's for time, and
two Americans ended up next to each other.
No, this was a German girl and a Japanese girl, and a woman athlete, female athlete.
Right.
Yeah, fathlete, right? And so. And they had a false start, and I picked it up halfway through, so they might have had an earlier false start, or I don't know how the false starts work. But then they were ready to go, and the gun went off, and then it fired again, and it didn't look like there had been a false start at all. Yeah. But the German athlete, they're in this, they're like this, right? Ready to go. Can we get the wide shot here for a quick second? So they're like ready to go, like this. And she did this. She did a wide receiver false start. Like, I mean, just what you see. She went like this. Right before the gun, she went, that arm, like, pulled back a little bit. And that's why he blew it as the false start. And she was eliminated. Oh. She was 33 or 34. It was her final Olympics, and that was. And you just thought, this can't be. Right. And at first she skated around, she was like this, and then of course they cut to her later, and she's sobbing. Right. Just like, I don't know, like everything that's so great about the Olympics, you're like, hey, not that.
Right.
There's some of those rules in sports which
Yeah.
they should. I mean, the mis-signing your golf card. I mean, that comes from before television was invented, right?
Right.
So if you sign the wrong golf card, we were watching. We know you only took 3 shots on 16.
That's
you
right,
know,
right.
so it's that rule to me is absurd as well. But yeah, I know what you're
And,
saying.
and also, they get ready, and then they ask them to wait so long. It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's like Peyton Manning called 14 audibles, and they're just like in this,
Yeah.
you know. And then I don't know. I really it was like
you
it was-
should be
and
allowed a false start.
You should be allowed like many or that, and I get it. You can't cross the line, but she didn't cross the line. She flinched her arm.
Right.
It seemed entirely wrong and un-Olympiad.
If in high school I
un-Olympic.
knew that at one point in my life I would be spending this much time talking about women's short track speed skating.
No, we went from
would,
sex in the
I
Olympic Village
wouldn't
to
have believed it.
speed skating. That's amazing.
Anyway, going back to bring it full circle, it doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
And it's great. They should all have the best time of their life.
I agree. So we should obviously crash the Olympic Village.
Yeah, we should crash the Olympic
Yeah, we
Village.
should find a way in. Can we make a medal or something?
No,
Plastic?
I made a son, and hopefully he'll be on the Olympic hockey team one day.
Well done.